Please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the sweet, sweet NBA bit. This is officially episode 2 of the new season. Love to see it today. We're going to be doing the Pacific. It's actually just called the Northwest. I keep calling it the Pacific Northwest, just the Northwest division of the Western Conference. If you missed our first episode, that was on Monday. We did the Pacific. And then we're gonna, I think it's the Midwest, the Southwest. I don't know what it's called. We're gonna be doing that on Friday, and then we'll hit up the Eastern Conference starting next week. So good to be back again. Who do we got in the streets this morning? Magnuson was very excited. He had the hashtag Thunder up. We're going to be talking some Thunder. We get the common man. Happy birthday to Cade Cunningham. Okay, Cade Cunningham. Somebody I have been clicking a lot in the Underdog streets lately. Boston base here. Yes, happy birthday to Mike Zakarian. No, it's not. We're still a ways away, baby. The big 4-0 coming at you fast and furious in a couple of months. Patty Coyne up early in the morning. And then, yeah, we got a Bandino site. Bandy not thrilled today. Had to get him up early. We were doing a lot of prep for the show. Had to get him out for a walk. Oh, we got Reese in the house. Hey, let's get some business out of the way. A couple of things we dropped. SORARE dropped a ton of new announcements about year 3 and how that's going to impact how we play the game. And I made it in a digestible 6.5-minute video for you. So go check that out. That's on our Elite Fantasy Hoops channel. I've got that pinned in the chat. It's just a quick breakdown. A lot of exciting stuff. Hopefully we get some more announcements from them shortly about some of those things that they teased out there in that blog. So go check that out. Couple of content things that I know I plugged earlier in the week. So some breaking news. Mr. G Dunn and Baby G Dunn are on the East Coast, and that doesn't happen often. And so there is no Underdog fantasy happy hour today. I was going to do that with Eric Beimfohr over on Spike Week. We pushed that back 1 week. And the 89 Cavs will also start next week. So there's no other shows today after the NBA bit. Because I haven't met Baby G Dunn yet. So we got to go meet Baby G Dunn. And Kelsey has the day off, so we're going to make that happen later today. So this is it, the NBA bit today. Tomorrow we'll have a little spicy something for you in the weekly special slot, probably on the Elite Fantasy Hoops channel. And then Friday we'll be back with the NBA bit one more time. I think we'll have some over on Playback. We'll have a little Team Hold Racing, and then maybe another happy hour, depending on how the vibes are on Friday. Although my parents are coming into town this week. So we got Baby G Dunn, Papa Mama Zakarian later in the week. So a lot going on. But I think that's it. I think that's it for business. We're just locked and loaded, ready to go. You guys have anything you need to share with the chat? Anything you need to get off your chest? Anything you're excited about? At the end of the show, we'll find maybe a WNBA Pickem or something. No, my dad did not play pro ball, Boston base. Also, since this is the first show since Monday, for those of you that tailed that Underdog slip, we were so close to hitting that, what was that, 30x or 40x, whatever that was. We were so close, so close. So maybe better luck on on Wednesday. Homie needs to get some hair off his chest. Okay, homies. Good to see homies there. Just one other thing. If you haven't liked the stream and subscribed to the channel, please do that. We're right around 11,300 on this channel, and we're about to hit 2,500 on the Elite Fantasy Hoops channel. So, so go check that out. Tesla said first week back in time for some PTO. Finally starting to channel some of my energy. There you go. Yeah, you got to use it, man. You got to use it. Yeah, the EMAC field goals hit. That was huge. We really were just 10 yards off of Jaden Daniels. I had a really good night that night regardless. I had like 3 other things hit. But anyways, it's okay. All right, let's go. You guys ready for you ready for the Northwest Division? This is a spicy division. There's a lot of good action here. And it's funny, there was like the cream of the crop and then the shit of the barrel. I don't know. What's the opposite of the cream of the crop? I don't know another analogy for that. So the shit of the barrel, we'll say. But we've got some of the best and some of the worst. We got Weisberg up in the chat here too. Reese is letting us know he's moving to rare this season. Okay. All right, enough of that. Let's do it. The division of the Northwest. Let's go. The first team we're going to look at is the title favorites of, oh no, I did it backwards. The title favorites of the OKC, not the title, the Western Conference favorites, excuse me. How are we going to do this? Let's see. Let's do it over here. Let's do that. And then let's do that. Wait, why is it not? Hold on one second, guys. Oh, that's share screen. I got you. Sorry. First time, long time. Here we go. Bang. Let's go. OKC Thunder. We're back. Sorry, I'm not used to the graphics. I'm getting used to it. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. The OKC Thunder. Here's what happened this offseason. So they added a white guy, they added a fake white guy, and then they lost a problematic white guy. So the Oklahoma City Thunder added Alex Caruso from the Chicago Bulls, right? They added Isaiah Hartenstein, and then they lost Josh Giddey. That's really it. Now, OKC also re-signed a couple of guys at favorable deals. I'm trying to think of the sharpshooter. Isaiah Joe, I believe, is back on a favorable deal, and I'm blanking on Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins is the other guy that they got back on a favorable deal. But the real additions here were Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, and I mentioned this on the podcast last week, but if you told me that the Oklahoma City Thunder got one of those guys this offseason, whether they added Alex Caruso or whether they just added Isaiah Hartenstein, we would have been like, holy crap, Oklahoma City won the offseason. And they got both of them, man. They got both of them. They plugged 2 holes. I wouldn't even say the Caruso one as a whole because I think they're already a very strong defensive team. But what's nice about bringing in Caruso is they're able to add shooting without subtracting the defense, right? And that's one of the knocks on Isaiah Joe when he comes in off the bench and just is a flamethrower from three-point land. It is a step back defensively a little bit. Now, Caruso doesn't have the same three-point percentage that Isaiah Joe does, but he does add some shooting while not losing some defense. And then Hartenstein, man, like we saw what he did for the Knicks. What's crazy about the Isaiah Hartenstein run, too, is that he was not supposed to be the starter for the Knicks, right? He was a guy coming off the bench. And then with Mitchell Robinson going down, which I guess we have to talk about a little bit later, when he went down and Randall's down, Hartenstein's is forced to in a much bigger role where he's defending. He's actually doing a little bit of passing in the interior too, a little bit of passing, and then obviously like the rim protection. And Hartenstein, like that is exactly what was killing OKC in the playoffs. I know every other medium has talked about this already, but they were just getting smoked on the boards, right? They couldn't get an offensive rebound to save their lives, which was putting so much pressure on the first shot of every offensive possession for OKC, right? Because they knew in that Dallas series that if they did not make that shot, they were going back on defense. There was no second chance opportunities. And now you add somebody like Hartenstein, and it helps a couple of different ways, right? Because Chet Holmgren, who missed his full rookie season, right, with that foot injury he suffered in Summer League, comes back his second year, plays all 82 games, and that feels like a miracle. I don't know if I want somebody built like Amish Abraham Lincoln to be playing all 82 games. And so now you have Isaiah Hartenstein, who, if Chet misses, just maybe doesn't play back-to-back, they give him like a week off, not a week off, but they give him a couple days off, right? You have Isaiah Hartenstein who can fill that hole. You also now have different ways that you can play because they were basically only playing 5 out this whole time. It's just a bunch of shooters. Well, now you can have Chet play the 4 at times and spread out while Isaiah Hartenstein's down low. So I think they're going to mix and match a little bit. When Chet gets a breather, Hartenstein starts. They can still go small ball 5 with Chet. It's not even small ball, but like 5 out with Chet out there. It just allows OKC to play so many different ways. And I think that's going to really like rear its head when we head to the playoffs. And if they get matched up, like a team like the Nuggets would decimate OKC, right? Because of just how big they can play with Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. It's just too much size. And then you think about Minnesota Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert and Cat out there at the same time, just crushed in size. We saw what Dallas did, and we don't even consider Dallas a big team. Well, now this changes a lot. I think it just changes the ceiling of OKC, not just regular season. I think regular season, whether they made these moves or not, they'd be winning over 50 games. With these moves, I think it just raises their ceiling into the playoffs. Weisberg said the wild part about Hartenstein is that he might not even start. That said, he provides reasonable lineup flexibility in a way they didn't have last year. Yeah, that's stuff that I was saying. And it's not even an overpay for OKC given the lineups they can throw out. Yeah, and I believe the way the deal works too, like they have some flexibility in the second or third year. I can't remember. We got Juan Stockton in the chat says OKC still won't be able to get past the Mavs. Juan Stockton, are you the Top Shot common man burner? Our Mavs Hive MFFL in the chat. Is that what's happening right now? Yeah, I think I would take OKC over Dallas right now. And that honestly, that's not a shot at Dallas. I still think Dallas is going to be awesome. I think these moves for OKC really adjusts their ceiling. It really adjusts their ceiling. Yeah, that was no shade. I just knew he was in the chat too. And he's always yelling. He's always yelling at me about Dallas. Listen, I respect fandom. And if you are if you've got MFFL mainlined into your veins right now, all the power to you. I think to say they are obvious favorites over OKC, that is a little cocaine energy in the morning. But I respect it, man. I respect it. Go for it. And we'll talk about Dallas on Friday. When we do the Southwest or whatever the fuck that division's called. All right, let's look at some of the odds. So the OKC Thunder their over-under is set at 56.5 wins, which is, I feel like I would still take the over on this one, but man, that's such a high number for how every single time we talk about the Western Conference, we're saying how deep the West is, and then yet they are at 46.5. Wait, hold on. Imagine, Stan. God. Imagine thinking that most changes anything. Dallas got Clay and already beat them. Dude, you were the same guy saying Clay was washed, weren't you? Weren't you the same Clay is washed guy? God, you're like John Kerry out here, flippy floppy. All right, here we go. Plus 700 to win the finals, plus 350 to win the Northwest. And for the first time this season, we have a team minus 110 to win the Northwest. How is OKC the faves? They couldn't even get out of the second round. Well, what happens is when a team gets better in the offseason, that's usually how. And I think probably because they were the 1 seed. I think that's probably how. I mean, it's just kind of that. Just because you finish second place overall doesn't mean you're automatically projected to. It's just not how odds work, I guess. But anyways, OKC, there you go. There you have it. I don't know if I'd bet on any of this, honestly. I think the West is just too deep. I wouldn't feel maybe just to win the Northwest. I feel confident that they will have the best record in the Northwest this season because barring any injury, of course, but that's not even a fun bet because it's minus 110. And then like the over under again, I feel like they clear it, but I don't think I would bet on it. And yeah, I what I'm most interested to see this season, obviously how they used Chet and Hartenstein together, but I'm really interested in a J-Dub leap. Like, are we going to see? So we saw Jalen Williams move from, just a strong rookie. Second half of his rookie season was very, very strong. Then his second year was great. And I pointed this out in one of our fantasy videos that we did a couple weeks ago, but J-Dub, he was, I believe, 9th overall in fourth quarter. I think it was 11th overall in fourth quarter scoring last season, 11th overall, and then 9th overall in 3-point percentage. Now, he wasn't doing it on strong volume. But I do think, I think if he is able to make another leap, that is really going to unlock some stuff for OKC. Weisberg saying they're going to be a top 5 offensive and defensive team. Mike really didn't even get into the Caruso signing and how. Yeah, I did at the beginning, but I don't know, Mike. And then Juan, again, talking about the Mavs, did they get better than the Mavs? No, he answers his own question. They still don't have anyone to stop Luka. SGA will have to make now, losing Giddy. I mean, SGA was playmaking throughout the entire time. I also think we're going to see a little bit more case on Wallace too this season. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. All right, Juan, dude, Juan. Hey, listen, pour some coffee, dude. Pour a little Jav. Take a sip. Maybe take a breath, stretch out a little bit, stretch out. All right, I think that's it on OKC. I don't know if we need to hit anything else. I think this really is going to, I think it's going to be a fun season for them. It will also be interesting too. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to being favorites this year, right? There was a lot of buzz on them last season heading into the year where they were kind of like the Williamsburg hipster team that all the tight, skinny jeans were like, I'm an OKC fan this year. And I'm one of those guys, right? Because I said they were going to finish top 4 in the West. But now they come in with these odds, right? With the outside of the Boston Celtics, one of the favorites to go to win the finals, 56.5 wins. They're favored to finish first overall in the Western Conference in the regular season. How are they going to respond to that added pressure? Will be fun to watch. Boston based with a super chat, making fun of Weisberg. Love to see it. All right, let's go. Next up, Denver Nuggets. Oh, and we added the glow, baby. We added the glow to the graphic. Denver, man, people are down on the D-Nugs. Key additions. Honestly, it's nervous. I'm nervous here for the key additions. We got Russell Westbrook. We calling Russ Westbrook a key addition. And then they also added Dario Saric. And Dario is looking like a back five. Juan, I think you have decided that I hate the Mavericks. We're just talking about the Northwest Division. I think Dallas is really good. I like Dallas. I think Dallas upgraded this season. I think they're going to be a good team. No, we're not mad. I promise. Nobody's mad at Dallas. But anyways, they added Russell Westbrook. Dario Saric, I think, is kind of interesting. I think if you want to be glass half full, right, Dario Saric probably is going to play some backup 5. I think that's what we're going to see from Saric. And so that means less DeAndre Jordan, which I do think is good overall. I think that's important. Less Dario Saric is important. Less DeAndre Jordan is important. If we want to be, we can say Russell Westbrook can provide some energy off the bench. He can be a change of pace guy. He can play out there with Jokic because he can just cut off ball and find lanes. I think the concern with Russ is what we saw with the Clippers last season. And maybe the clubhouse of the Clippers is not as formidable as, say, the Denver Nuggets with Jokic and Jamal Murray, the vibes created there, and Michael Malone. Because what we saw Russ do is play like a strong 6-man role for a while. And then the playoffs started, and he had some Juan Stockton cocaine-fueled energy and was just flying all over the place. Was like one of the worst three-point shooters on volume in the history of the game and just really fell apart. So if he's able to stay in his lane and be a change of pace guy, honestly, this is how, if Denver does not have to rely on Russ, that Russ is just like a fun guy they throw in there every once in a while, I think it could really work. If Denver is like, well, we need 24 to 28 minutes from Russell Westbrook a night, I think Denver is cooked. They lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That was a big deal. KCP, obviously a part of their starting 5. If you look at some of the deeper defensive analytic numbers from the postseason run of Denver this past season, KCP was slipping defensively. But however, like you can make the case that they shouldn't have paid KCP and that they can hopefully replace the 3-point shooting and the defense, whatever. But the thing is, they didn't replace any of it. So like if they had made any move, I would be like, yeah, I guess it makes sense. But they didn't. KCP's over in Orlando, which we'll talk about next week. So when we look at Denver's starting 5, right, you've got Jamal at the 1, Jokic at the 5. You'll have Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon at the 4 and the 3. And now they're rooting on guys like Christian Brown, who's going to be in year 3, who had like a solid year 1 and then was really hot and cold in year 2. They're going to be rooting for guys like Julian Strother, who I've talked about a lot in the fantasy side. And then we'll go from there. His effort isn't the reason they. What are you, Juan? I get some podcast recommendations for you, Juan, and this is good. I'm glad we're back with the NBA bit. I'm glad the chat is active right now, so you can get me worked up a little bit. His effort isn't the reason they lost the chip. Are we talking about Russell Westbrook right now? They didn't get out of the first round. I'm not saying that's the reason they lost the first round. I'm saying he played like dog shit. Anyways, Denver's odds right here. Oh, Boston base. Okay. All right, we're back. Okay, sorry. This is good. All right, you know what? We need a mental health check. Because I'm too fired up this morning. I'm too fired up. We need a mental health check. Let's do this one. But I'm just not going to do it, guys. And it feels good to not cave to the chat because I am the boss. Like I said earlier, I'm in charge today. I am in charge. You can't tell me what to do. All right, we're back. Stan Loves in the chat too said they couldn't even pick up someone like Gary Trent Jr. for the minimum. GM sucks. Yeah, man. I'm curious to see how Denver bounces back. I think you can say, and as Top Shot Con Man, he said old news. I think that we might be too out on Denver right now. I don't think they should be title favorites. I still think they are in that like top tier of the West with OKC, with Dallas, with Minnesota, Denver. I think Memphis is going to be flirting around with some of that too. I think they're still in that range. That being said, I wouldn't bet on any of these odds, right? 50. I don't know why this is 51.6. 51.5 wins is the over-under. They've got a plus 950 to win the NBA Finals, plus 450 to win the West, and plus 300 to win the Northwest Division. I think the energy is going to be interesting heading in. Like, I'm very fascinated to see how Denver responds in the first 2 months of the season, because there's been a little bit of reporting coming out of Denver that there's some butthurt feelings between the coach and the front office. I think there is some frustration within the team that they were unwilling to drop a bag for Kentavious. It wasn't even a bag, but to pay KCP to come back. The owners, Kroenke, they're not a team that is willing to like strongly dip into the luxury tax. And now we know that they're going to be approaching the second apron. After this season, I believe Aaron Gordon is extension eligible, and he's going to be clamoring for something like $150 to $160 million extension. So they're going to be paying a lot of guys. Jamal Murray, they just paid him, and the energy around Jamal is a little weird because of how he performed in the playoffs last season and then what we saw from him for Team Canada. I think I'm going to err on the side that Jamal Murray was hurt. Hopefully he's ready. I mean, Jamal Murray is always hurt, if we're going to be honest, but that they're going to be back in action and ready to go for the fall. I still think they're going to be a top 4 team, but I am concerned here because if they get off to a weird start, the thing that they have going for them, Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world right now. And that right there is, Nikola Jokic could be playing with me, Juan Stockton, Mike Weisberg, Stan Loves, Top Shot Com Man, and they're going to win 45 games at least, right? Weisberg said the long-term question on Denver hinges on Jamal. He might have had the worst summer of any actual star, short of JT. But I think they I do think, yeah, Jamal, everybody's really low on Jamal right now. Everybody's really low on Jamal. So we'll have to wait and see. I think the first month or so will be pretty important. I think if they get off to a rocky start, the media is going to be buzzing around there. I could see Michael Malone being on the hot seat early on, not because Michael Malone should be on the hot seat, but because he's not somebody that is quiet. And if he is frustrated early on, I think we'll hear from it. Tesla was saying, it feels like they should have skipped Team Canada, but he's too proud. And then Stan Love saying, I predict they trade for Bruce Brown. Maybe. Bruce Brown, I believe, just went under. Maybe Tesla has a better read on this being Team Canada. I'm pretty sure Bruce Brown just underwent a knee surgery or some sort of scope or something. I don't think he's going to be ready for the start of the season. Not that they have to trade for him right away. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they do make a move. But I don't know what move they have, to be honest, because I don't think anyone's taking Michael Porter Jr.'s contract. Aaron Gordon's too important to what they do. And when you look at that bench, man, it's Julian Strother, who they're going to need to produce, and their front office is high on. It's Christian Brown. It's Dario Saric, Russell Westbrook, DeAndre Jordan still there. It's a tough scene, man. if he's healthy, it certainly won't be due to lack of effort. Jamal's, well, yeah, you pro Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is a baller, and I know I'm getting the L. Yeah, he's out. Okay, so Bruce Brown confirmed out 6 weeks. All right. Anyways, anything else on Denver? People need to get off their chest before we move along. Anything else we need to say about Denver? I think they're going to be better than people are giving them credit for, and I don't think they're going to come out of the West. That's where I'm landing here. That's where I'm landing with the Denver Nuggets. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's get over to the last fun team of this division. Not the last team, the last fun one. Minnesota Timberwolves. How about that photo, by the way? How about that photo? So Minnesota's in a weird spot. Key additions, Rob Dillingham, who is a rookie. And I haven't included a lot of rookies, but they just didn't make any moves. And Rob Dillingham is actually going to be, whether he performs well or not, he is a key addition because right now, they have Mike Conley running the point, but they traded a lot of assets to get up there to get Rob Dillingham for him to make an impact now. And it might take a full season. Like it might not happen until March or April when he just starts like feeling in, where he starts like getting the flow of everything, right? So it might not be right away, but I do think for Minnesota to take the necessary step to get past, say, like a Dallas Mavericks to make it on to the NBA Finals, they're going to need somebody like him to step up because you could see the difference in their offense, their offensive flow when Mike Conley was on and off the court. And when Mike Conley missed a couple of games, that last few minutes when it's possession by possession, their offense gets a little weird. And so they're going to need it. Tessa saying ant erasure. You know what it was? I put Anthony Edwards. I did the same thing with Jamal Murray. Put Anthony Edwards on the thumbnail. So I had to get some other T-Wolves involved in the graphic, you know? They also added Joe Ingles. I don't know what Joe Ingles has left. Didn't have much left with Orlando, but I think Minnesota's just happy to have him there. He reunited with his Utah bro, Mike Conley. They seem excited about it. We look at their 2024 odds. The over-under line is set at 52.5 Ws, plus 1,000 to win the NBA Finals, plus 500 to win the West, and plus 230 to win the Northwest. So, couple of things about Minnesota. They still haven't really figured out their ownership thing. Remember, A-Rod and somebody else was supposed to be buying the team. And then the guy was like, oh, I might have sold it too cheap. So then he was like, just kidding. LOL, I want to keep it. And then they went back and forth. And then no one's talking about it anymore. So I imagine that is going to bubble up again, especially as they are paying these guys lots of dollars. Same thing with OKC that we talked about. Minnesota, a real breakthrough season, right? Just a couple of games away from going to the NBA Finals. They seem to have figured stuff out. Even though Cat missed a ton of time there, they still had a really solid season. But now the expectation is Anthony Edwards, new face of the league, right? The Netflix series is coming out. He's supposed to be the superstar of it, even though LeBron's in it. He's supposed to be the star. I'm sure there's going to be some MVP buzz for him. There's a little bit more expectation from Minnesota than what we saw in the past. You can even see it with how many nationally televised games they're going to have this season. So how are they going to be able to respond to that? Did they just run well last season? Will Rob Dillingham be able to step into a meaningful role? Will Nickeil Alexander-Walker continue to contribute in the way that he did last season? And then I didn't mention like the key losses of Kyle Anderson. Like we like to make fun of the Andersons got tickets to the game. Can't believe it. We call him slow-mo. His jump shot is the slowest thing we've ever seen. However, he was like a really good glue guy, even though he tried to fight Rudy Gobert one time. And also, will Jaden McDaniels make another leap as well? You know, we saw obviously he's just one of the best defensive like wings out there, but we also saw some flashes of upside, right? So we'll have to wait and see here. Sorry, we've got a little bit of a cough. Matty Harrison said, so after 9 seasons, it finally clicked with me that Cat's first name is hyphenated and his last name isn't Anthony Towns. There you go. Well, Matty, listen, the more you know. That's fun. That's fun. I also think this could be an interesting year I feel like I'm saying interesting too much. I feel like this could be an important first couple of months for Rudy Gobert too. Rudy's in such a weird spot that guys like Derek Lively and Theo Penson are on a podcast making fun of him. His own country benched him. You know, it's one thing where they're like, oh, he got played off the court in the NBA playoffs, so they went small instead. But it's like they benched him for like guys we won't see again. So does that mess with his head, or is Rudy built different, as they say? We'll have to pay attention to how he reacts to that at the beginning of the season. But anyways, 52.5 wins. Yeah, Shaq's been doing some weird stuff too. I actually think it's kind of corny now. This feels like it's punching down a little bit. Like I'm not a Rudy fan, but I do think it's weird when it becomes like pile-on culture, especially from a guy like Shaq. Like, what are we doing? I expect that stuff from Gilbert Arenas' podcast. I don't know. I feel like it's piling on a little bit. That being said, I'm sure I'll be making fun of Rudy come November, but I just don't like the way that it's happening right now. Like, I don't love it. I don't love it. So 52.5 wins. How does the chat feel? Do you think Minnesota is going to be able to eclipse what they did last season? Do you think we are really on an ascension here, led behind Anthony Edwards' superstardom? Oh, one injury news. Chris Finch is going to be walking around, right? Last time we saw Chris Finch, he was all crutched up, but he's healthy again, so that's good news. But where are you guys landing on Minnesota here? 50. I'm really hesitant to take the overs on any of these guys because I really do think like the West is I feel like every team is going to be somewhere between 50 and 54 wins on that top half of the West. But again, if you're believing in the Anthony Edwards hype, like if he's just going to take because last season was really the first time we saw like, okay, well, here we go. Here's the hot take so far. Top Shot Tesla in the chat. Ant is a little overhyped. There we go. It's happened. The pendulum has swung. The meter has gone too far one way. I think we're going to see some really high highs from Anthony Edwards. I think the challenge will be, can he sustain that night in and night out? And he did do it. He did do it that second half of the season. But he also, there was some eggs in the playoffs that he dropped as well. Stan also saying very overhyped. Wow, look at these hot takes. And Tesla was also saying they're trying to find an American star there to the marketing void. Yeah, I do think that is true. I think that is true that they are trying to do that. And then Weisberg saying those Conley on-off numbers are the thing I'm watching the most. Love problematic Terrence Shannon Jr. more than Dillingham. The ownership thing gets resolved sooner rather than later, says Weisberg. Yeah, I am. Yeah, the ownership thing I don't really have a ton of takes on, but the Terrence Shannon Jr. I wonder like where he fits in. He looked awesome in Summer League, but like, it's hard to put any emphasis on what's happening in Summer League when they're playing guys who like aren't here anymore. And the position's different, right? Where Dillingham's going to have to play because they don't have a lot of ball handling guys. It's really just Conley and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And then on the wing side of things, there's more stuff he has to fight through. But I'm with you. We got Sneeps and Boudevine here. Those are potential top three. Those three are potentially top 20 players in the history of the league. I'm sorry. Of like LeBron. Okay. Trying to make Ant be the next American star. Yeah. We'll see. All right. I think that's it on Minnesota. Let's get into the dog doo-doo. Utah Jazz. Here we go. Key additions. Oh boy. The key additions for the Utah Jazz this offseason, Patty Mills from Down Under Mite. And then we also have Drew freaking Eubanks, okay? Those, when I was looking at the additions of the Utah Jazz this offseason, that's what we have. Did I miss anything? Was there a Utah Jazz addition that I missed? Good God. The biggest conversation this offseason was Lowry marketing. Will he, won't he? We know that Lowry wanted to stay. He likes playing in Utah, which is something you don't hear from a lot of people that aren't Mormon. And Lowry wanted to stay, and he did. They actually made sure, if you remember, I think it was like the deadline was August 7th for him to sign an extension. If he did it before August 7th, he could get traded anytime during the season. If they did it after August 7th, he couldn't get traded until next offseason, and he waited until the extension wasn't signed until after the 7th. So he is with Utah for the whole season. Also, what I found fascinating, I don't think they lost anyone except the one player. One player from Utah is no longer on the team because he is now a part of the Chicago Bulls. And there it is. There it is, baby. We haven't had a THT drop in a while. They've added the Cooper Flag wet dream. Yeah, that's also true, TST. They didn't lose really anyone this offseason. And I think let's look at the odds really quickly just because it's hilarious. The over-under set at 29.5. They are plus 10,000 to win the NBA Finals. And then it feels like the books just didn't care. They're like, sure, they're plus 6,000 to win the West, plus 6,000 to win the Northwest. They just were just throwing numbers together. I think the weird thing about Utah is for a team that is like clearly going to be tanking. Yes. Oh, sorry. I forgot Omer. You're at 7. You're right, Stan. A team that's going to be clearly tanking. They didn't really move off a lot of their guys. So the last 2 seasons, we've seen Utah come out the gate and actually play like decent basketball, not great basketball, but not tanking basketball. Right. And they didn't really pull the plug on the season until right around the All-Star break. And they didn't really move off any of those guys that would have kind of indicated that they're going full tank mode, right? Like and we've been talking about this in the fantasy basketball streets where we've been doing best ball. It's really hard to know what to do with Utah because they have like professional basketball players and Lauri Markkanen, John Collins is still there. Jordan Clarkson is still there. The sex god Colin Sexton is still there. Then they've got these young guys they're trying to play around in with Keontae George and Walker Kessler. They've got Taylor Hendricks, who had a really good summer league in year 2 and like shown some life here. They drafted J-Dub's brother, Cody Williams. And so they've got kind of 2 different teams almost. They've got like a 5 for when they're trying and then a 5 for when they're tanking. But I wonder, because there seems to be way more excitement around this upcoming draft class than the previous draft class if they start tanking earlier rather than later. But I don't know what that means. Does that mean they actually move off of Clarkson? They move off of Sexton? I feel like Sexton and Clarkson could be like fun bench pieces for a real playoff team. I feel like they could drive some value, but we'll have to wait and see. I also think there'll be more teams vying to tank this year than what we've seen in the past. We're going to talk about the Blazers, who are also in this division. We've got who knows what's going to happen with Houston and San Antonio out the gates. And then, let me just say Golden State's name. But then also the Eastern Conference, like what's going to happen over there, Biggest info addition for the Jazz, says Matty Harrison, was whatever info Ainge gleaned during the market and trade negotiations. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the Laurie signing was something, says Weisberg, they had to do. But, like, this is such a great draft and plays like Keontae. To the guys that I was just mentioning. Yeah, and I think I already said Lowry can't be drafted this year. I mean, can't be traded this season. Stan says trade Clarkson to Denver. That's honestly, yeah, you stay in the mountain time, right? I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I think I would take the under on 29.5 wins this season. I feel like they are going to – I think they're going to tank a little bit sooner. I think that's what we'll see. They tank a little bit sooner. But, yeah, Stan, I like that. Clarkson or Sexton to Denver makes a ton of sense. The Clippers, because they're not going to tank, as we talked about them on Monday, right? They don't have any draft picks this season. I feel like that would have made sense for them, right? Instead of, like, going after guys like Kevin Porter Jr., I feel like that would have made – more sense. I'm sure there's some Eastern Conference teams that could use them, but again, with the second apron, it makes it a little bit harder to make these deals these days. Anything else on Utah? I feel like we don't have to spend too much time on them. We know that Lowry's going to be there. Boston Base wants to talk about Lester Quinones has agreed to a 2-way deal. There we go. Shut up, Lester, the former Golden State Warrior. All right, one team left in the Northwest, and we're going to the true Northwest, okay? So get out a blunt, put on a beanie. We're going to Portland, baby. Portlandia. The Trailblazers. Key additions, same thing. They didn't really do anything this offseason. Actually, I apologize. I left Denny Avdia off this. Embarrassing. They did it. So if you listen on the podcast, you have no idea. Denny Avdia. Denny Avdia was added. They traded one of their first-round picks to pick up Denny, which confused everybody. The key additions, Donovan Clingan, the rookie, that was the other addition that made some sense for them. And then their key losses, I said no one yet. But they are clearly going to be moving off some people. It sounds like anybody that lives in Oregon is currently on the trade block. So Jeremy Grant has been rumored to get moved. They talked about taking the Lakers have talked about him, right? The Lakers have talked about Jeremy Grant. Anthony Simons is also in a crowded backcourt who might garner some interest around the trade deadline. There's been some hype around Anthony Simons. And then they've got 3 bigs now, right? So they drafted Donovan Clingan. They have Time Lord Robert Williams, who can't stay on the court very long, but has a lot of intrigue for people. And then, of course, dominating DeAndre Ayton. So I imagine we see one of those bigs move in DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams, most likely Williams, because the price point is a little bit more doable than, say, what DeAndre Ayton's max is. And then one or maybe both of Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons is going to be gone, because I think Portland, similar to Utah, has a core of young guys that aren't going to win games right now, but they want to get a lot of reps in, right? They still have Delano Banton, who is like a tank god. They've got Jabari Walker, who has shown a little bit of hype over there. Shaedon Sharpe, who I think people forgot missed the second half of last season. He's back and healthy. And that's like a fun backcourt if they're able to mess around with Scoot and Shaedon Sharpe. You have Denny out there, DeAndre and whatever. I think they could be like a fun team that loses a ton of games. Tesla said, if Utah and Portland combine teams this season, could they get to 500 wins in the West? Ooh, that's fun. Lauri Markkanen at the 4, DeAndre Ayton at the 5, Denny at the 3, and then like Simon's is one of those guys, and then a 5th. No, probably not. That's a great comment, though. That's a great comment. Actually, I feel like I have to go full screen and redo that because I feel like that's a fun short. That is a fun short. So here we go. Sorry if this feels repetitive. Tessa asked, if Utah and Portland combine teams, if Utah and Portland combined teams, could they go 500 this season? So if we look at the roster on Utah, does John Collins make the starting 5? Probably not. Is DeAndre Ayton and Lauri Markkanen? And then we have, I don't know who the guards would be. Would Scoot make the starting 5, or is it Simons and like Sexton, Simons and Keontae George? I think we can clearly say they would probably still be in the lottery. I think if you combined Utah and Portland, they would still probably get a top 5 pick this season. Man. All right, Boston Base wants us to AI us. There we go. That was fun, guys. Look at us. We're back in mid-season form. Yeah, take 2. I know. Thanks, guys. Over under 22.5 wins. No, I'm probably taking the under on that. And they did the same thing. Plus 10,000 to win the finals, plus 6,000 to win the West, plus 6,000 to win the Northwest. That's great. Tesla, you're right. We should tweet that out right now. And I'll share it. Let's see. If the Utah Jazz and Trailblazers combined rosters this season, could they finish above 500 this season? There you go. Good engagement farming right there. Let me go we'll throw that in the chat, baby. Throw it in the chat. We got Weisberg said, one last thing on Utes. Their first is owed to OKC, 1 through 10 protected, which is another reason to fully tank. On Portland, I'd love to see them deal Ayton, but Time Lord to the Knicks makes a ton of sense. Yeah, real quick on the Knicks here, since this is the last team, I don't think we have anything else we really need to talk about with Portland at this point. So Mitchell Robinson, reports came out that he's not going to be ready. And then he put some cryptic stuff out on the internet. Like I don't know. I think he like disagrees with what the medical staff said. I don't really know, but Mitchell Robinson's not ready. Julius Randle also said he's not going to be ready for the preseason, but it sounds like he might be okay for the regular season. A couple of things. Everybody was doing some like trade speculation out the gate, was like, oh, Walker Kessler or like Time Lord or Nick Richards. I thought a really good point, from some of I think it was Fred Katz, who was like, there's no way the Knicks were surprised by the Mitchell Robinson news. They were aware of this. So like it's not like they're all of a sudden, oh shit, they need to go find a center, that they've been like thinking about it for a while now. I do think this means Precious Achiuwa's stock has gone up a little bit. I could also see OG Anunoby is known for guarding bigs, right? That he's like really good at guarding people bigger than him if he can stay on the court. You could see Randall just start at the 5, but OG covered their bigs and Randall covered their 4s. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, great comment from Top Shot Common Man, who was the center at Villanova. So I don't know, but I think Weisberg is right. Time Lord would make a ton of sense over there. It would also be fun for the Knicks-Celtics rivalry. I do think Nick Richards, who is the backup big over in Charlotte with Mark Williams coming back, we've seen him be like kind of fun. I think another place you could watch is the Washington Wizards, who have centers like Jonas Valanciunas. They have Marvin Bagley. They have Alex Sarr. They have Rashawn Holmes. They've got a lot of bigs over there in Washington. I could see them taking a flyer on one of those guys. They still have Jericho Sims on the roster, but we've kind of seen enough of the Jericho Sims thing. The other injury news or two other injury things, because media days are starting to happen now. It sounds like Kawhi Leonard, there was a lot of panic around Kawhi Leonard, but it sounds like he's just not going to be 100% for like training camp. So I'm not really worried about that too. There was no reason for Kawhi to get rushed back for like training camp and preseason. I know people were concerned about like the underdog stuff. That Kawhi's ADP is like already factored into him missing some games. So I wouldn't like freak out too much about the Kawhi stuff. They seem to, what's his name? Lawrence Frank, I think is a GM or president of the Clippers, saying a lot of stuff that was just kind of like James Harden. We have a clear pecking order now when referring to James Harden, but I don't, does that mean he's 1 or 2? I don't know. I'm assuming 2, which makes me laugh because I'm like, is it that clear? And then the last thing that we got yesterday was about the Porzingis. Celtics had a fun media day. Jaylen Brown saying some crazy stuff at the top. So somebody asked him about how he felt about the Olympic snub. And then he made a fun joke that was just like, I can't believe this is the first question. We're not easing into this. I thought that was funny. Then he said that they go out of their way to make sure like Peyton Pritchard try to get 30, Sammy Hauser get 10 to 12 threes up when they're playing teams like Detroit. But he like named Detroit, which I thought was hilarious. So let's do a Detroit Pistons drop just for the Detroit slander right out the bat.
Detroit basketball! Detroit basketball!
There we go. But the real news from that presser was about the Zanger. It sounds like Porzingis is going to be like closer to early December than what was initially reported, right? I think when the surgery happened, they were like, we're hoping for late December. Maybe it might be into the new year. And I was even saying like maybe it's February, but it actually looks like it's going to be on the earlier side of December. I still don't think there's no reason to rush him back or like immediately bump him into like 30 minutes a game or something like that. I'm sure they kind of ease into it. We see Jared Magnuson's here. Let's go. And then there we go. Crypto Gem Founder letting us know Embiid's out. We're almost back, Crypto Gem Founder. We're almost back. Yeah, he also dropped a new shoe. So there we go. That's the Celtic stuff. I think that was pretty much it from the stuff that we saw from like the media day. I'm sure we'll get some more sound bites and more clips and stuff like that. But we're getting close, baby. We're getting close. Anything else you guys want to fire up a little bit? I was going to slide into a little WNBA Pickem, see if we can find something for tonight as we have a couple of game twos here. Shut up. We've got, dude, I don't know if you guys care about the W, but Liberty and Aces in the second round. Whew, that's one of the scary things when the Aces fall to the 4 seed. If you haven't signed up for Underdog, by the way, there's a link in the show notes, but a 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000, plus you get a free pick'em. So if you want to go do that, some of the free picks that you can see here. Let me boost this up a little bit. You see Mahomes, there's a gimme pick. We got a 10% boost we can use. We also have a 22% WNBA boost. But let's look at some WNBA picks. So we've got, I think, 2 games tonight. We have Indiana against Connecticut. Connecticut took game 1 in a feisty one. Boston Bay said his Fever going to win it all. They're not. Oops, I have to change the background. Sorry about that, guys. Let me change the background. All right, here we go. Connecticut actually like defended Clark pretty well in the most recent game. Oh, I thought we were going to see the most recent game. We got Alyssa Thomas here at 29.5. You got Aaliyah Boston. I kind of think I want to take the over on Aaliyah Boston fantasy points. I think we're going to do that over on the fantasy points. And then I wanted to take over Mabry fantasy points as well. Let's see, that's up to 30 now. Dang. Because I like the Mabry ones because it sounds like Mabry is going to start. Oh, wait, is that the only game tonight? Oh, no. And then Phoenix and Minnesota. And then I'm just going to take Collier, the Collier fantasy points over 45. Collier is just awesome. Collier is an absolute baller if you guys haven't been paying attention. Have you been to a playoff game? I didn't go to either of the Liberty games. I mean, I went all last season, but I didn't go this season to the playoffs yet anyways. I might try to go to the Aces, although the tickets are going to be so pricey. Celtics do sound like they're embracing the summer of disrespect thing. Yeah, Kelsey Plum. We won a pick 'em last night with some Plum energy. So let's go. We're not going to put anything crazy on this one though. We're going to be respectful here with this. So let's see. Let's use one of our boosts. This is because this one goes away in man, they gave us a bunch of boosts. Let's use this one. Let's just use the 10% profit boost here. We'll throw that on there. And then we'll just do like let's do 17 so I can get to a round number over here. 17 to win 110. 110.50. Not bad. Not bad. If you guys would like to follow along, I'll drop a link into the chat. A little bit of W. Yeah, 45.5 is high. I know. Collier's been balling, though, baby. Collier's been balling. Yeah, Sparks firing their head coach. Hamby's reaction on Twitter is classic. Yeah, they're kind of wild. Oh, yeah, this is great. Thank you for bringing this up. Any thoughts on retirement as a sports tradition? The discourse around Vince Carter Rap's retirement is expectedly annoying. Yeah, Tesla, I feel like I shouldn't have too strong of a take on it because I think like Raptors fans, I honestly think the Raptors fans should have had a vote on this, right? I don't know when your next election is, but it should have been like a referendum. Like you should have had a real vote on this because I could see both sides of it, right? I think there is some real value to Vince in like Canada basketball. And I think when I think about the Toronto Raptors as an organization, Vince Carter is one of the names that come to mind. He had a couple of iconic moments with them, like helped put Toronto on the map, I think, when that team came into existence. However, like I understand the real like vitriol in just being like, dude, you quit on us, lowered your value, and then you had to go. I think I'm a fan of forgiveness, right? I think it's just more fun to celebrate. And it's like, you got to start putting people in the rafters at some point. The Raptors. So I think I'm okay with it. I think it was nuts that they also announced that the Nets are retiring his number. Like, and I know he had some really good years with the Nets. I just feel like their history, you think that it would have a little bit of a higher threshold there to get Vinsanity up in there. But I don't know. What do I know? And Tesla said his impact is huge beyond Canada. When I mentioned Toronto and USA, especially, people always bring up Vince. Yeah, I think I'm pro-retirement. And then, Weisberg reminded us that Tony Allen's retirement number more interesting than VC. Tony Allen is getting his number retired, man. I think that has more to do with his tie to Memphis, right? That he stayed in Memphis. He's like really a part of the Memphis scene. He's kind of like embraced the city a little bit. I also think like as a Celtics fan, it's hard to wrap my head around people's numbers getting retired. Vince makes sense to me. I actually think Vince, I'm going to go, but again, I'm not a Raptors fan, so I get the hate. I think Vince's number should be retired. And honestly, I'm pro Lowry and DeRozan getting retired too. Cause it's just like, again, you don't have a storied history. Some guys got to get up there. And those are the names that I think of when I think of Toronto. That's where I land. Did I miss anything else? I think we hit it, right? Did we hit that? Just a reminder, no 89 Cavs tonight. That starts next week. No Elite Fantasy Hoops happy hour today. That will be pushed. We'll do that on Friday. I'm going to go see G down in his kiddo. I'm excited about that. That's on my docket today. Can you guys do me a favor though? One other thing, if you guys haven't downloaded, if you don't like download the podcast, can you go ahead and do that? So I dropped, although the Spotify link didn't load. What the hell? I'll update that after I end this, but do me a favor and go link to, just go subscribe to the podcast, whether it's on Apple or Spotify, just to help those numbers, going to boost those numbers. I'm going to look into that and try to talk about that in the next fantasy video. I haven't really looked yet. Stan Loves. I would imagine, man, just for a quick SORARE minute, that people probably aren't spending money yet, because that announcement almost made it that to me, that announcement was like, save up your money for August 15th when the auctions start. That's kind of what I took away from that. Can I tweet it out? Yeah. The podcast thing. Yeah, I can do that. Do we actually have to download or just stream somewhere? I mean, I guess you don't have to. just download, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know. Just click the links. Can I spare 30 seconds on MLB? Dude, I'm just not locked in at all on MLB. I'm not. I know I couldn't put the Liberty game on last night when I was hosting trivia because they wanted to watch Mets Braves, and I was pretty pissed about that, but I think it was an important game. So I'm not really locked in. The Red Sox kind of fell apart. I know the Yankees fans are happy. That's all I got. I'll probably find a way to get involved in the playoffs, but that's it for now. That's it for now. All right, gang. Listen, episode 2 in the books. Okay. We'll be back on Friday with episode 3 of this season of the NBA Bit, where we'll be doing the last division left in the Western Conference. And again, too, go check out the pinned link in the chat here, our most recent video on the SORARE announcement. Go check that out. That actually did some good numbers. And let's see, did we hit 2,500 while we were live here? Let's see, did we hit it? 2501, baby. 2,501. Love to see it. Very exciting stuff. All right, gang. Thanks for watching. Go download the pods, do all the stuff, and hashtag Thunder Up. Also, shout out One Stockton. I like the energy you brought to the chat early on in the show. Love to see it. Have a good day, guys. We out.